talk about class inheritance. And classes are basically templates for creating objects. And an object is an instance of a class. And a class has attributes, or sometimes we call it properties. And the class also has methods, which is a function inside the class. And also, class has a special method called constructor, and which we use it to create a new instance of a class. And here in this example, we have the class of hospital employee, and we have our constructor, and we have parameter name and salary. And we have when we call this class, we instantiated, we call this constructor. And here we have our properties, name and salary. We have three methods here. This get name method, which is a getter method which returns our property name. And we have a get salary method, which returns the salary property. And we also have this method calculate monthly paycheck. So we have this class, and we use inheritance basically when we can reuse this code. And inheritance is when we create a parents class with the properties and methods that can extend to a child class. And inheritance is very useful for code reusability and reusing these properties and methods. And we can reuse them when we create a new class. And we basically extend. We can use the keyword extend to create a subclass or child class. And here we have this hospital employee parent class. Now we're gonna use we're gonna create a child class for nurse. Let's create our child class nurse. So, and we're gonna use the keyword extends, and here's our parent class. So we are inheriting basically all the properties and methods. So this is our parents class with all the properties and methods, and this is our child class, and we need the constructor. So we need to have name and salary, same as the parent class. And let's also have a new certification property, certifications. And so we need to basically call the constructor of parents, and we can use the super keyword, which calls the constructor of the parent class. And we're gonna pass in name and salary. So when we call this super constructor of parents, when we use super keyword, it basically calls the constructor of parents class, and we that way we will maintain this logic here. And also we have this subclass or child class nurse has its own custom property as well. So we will call this certificate. So here's the certification property, and here. So we have our properties. Let's also have a method too. So let's have a getter method for certifications, which returns our property, returns this property. And let's also have another method called add certifications. So in this one we will get new certification. So we have the parameter, and what we do is basically we will just push this. So this will be an array of string, and we will push this new certification. New certification. Okay, so we have our method add certification, and let's create a new object. Okay, let's call new object nurse James. Let's call him James, and new nurse. We need to pass a name, salary, and certification. So name James, salary, let's put $75,000, and for certification let's do, I don't know, first aid, I guess, and let's do trauma. Let's do string trauma, and let's do pediatrics. Okay, so here's our object. So let's call this methods. So let's do this. Console log. Here's our name of our object. Let's call the method and the monthly paycheck. So we inherited this method from the parents one. So let's just call this to get the monthly paycheck. So this method basically we inherited from the hospital employee class. So let's call that, and let's run it basically. So let's run to see. As you can see, the monthly paycheck, the salary divided by 12, 6,250. And let's also let's call a method this method add certification. Let's just do that. So so we have our object. There's James, add certification. So let's just add on genetics. So we add this, and also let's just do console.log and nurse James certification. We're gonna call this getter method to just returns our certification. So let's clear this and let's run it again. So as you can see, we have genetics added. So let's summarize what we discussed. We talk about classes are templates for creating objects. We talk about an object is an instance of a class, and class has attributes or properties and methods. Then JavaScript calls a constructor method when we create a new instance of a class. And inheritance is when we create a parent class with properties and methods that we can extend to a child classes. And inheritance is useful for code reusability and reuse properties and method of an existing class when you create a new class. And we can use an extends keyword to create a subclass or a child class. And the super keyword calls the constructor of a